The state of Nigeria's economy and financial markets and the outlook for 2017 came to the fore at the May breakfast meeting of the Nigeria-South Africa Chamber of Commerce. Keynote speaker was the CEO of Nairametrics, Mr. Ugochukwu Obichukwu, who shared insights on the current economic state, key actors that will shape the economic direction of the country, policy steps so far taken, and the indicators at the moment.
We're going to look at, just quickly scroll through some of these numbers. So the first one is government's revenue for 2016. We are currently in a very dire state, very dire state in terms of government revenue. I think this is probably the biggest ever challenge that we've had as a government. The government budgeted, remember the first set of slides I threw up, I said the budget was what? 7.1 trillion, right? And that's supposed to be a record budget, even though we have a 90 trillion economy. The government budgeted revenue for 2016 was 4.3 trillion naira. You know how much we got? 2.9. 6-7%. Just think about that. If you're in business and you budgeted a revenue of 4.3 trillion and you're getting 2.9, aren't you going to get fired? You will get fired. And then in terms of oil revenue did fairly better this year, 97% budget compared to 74% in 2015. And then if you look at 2014, 23%. So we actually did better in 2016 compared to 2014. And there's a good reason for that. If you notice, towards the middle part of last year, the government started negotiating fervently with the Niger Delta militants. At some point, and I think the government realized they had a big problems in their hand when, I think it was sometime around May, June or so, crude oil production dropped below 1 million barrels per day. They knew that they were in big trouble and had to change their strategy. And we're lucky that they condescended and they changed, and somehow oil revenues rebound to 97% of budget, which is quite good. And that has a lot to do with where we are today in terms of the value of the naira.
He said the Niger Delta's stability will play a critical role in the country's recovery from recession.
Are we still in a recession? Yes. The GDP report that was out last week confirms that Nigeria grew negatively at minus 0.52%. But as you can see, we seem to be climbing out gradually. There were 3 revisions, in case you guys didn't notice. The numbers sort of, I think this was worse than it was. The 4th and the 3rd quarter, the negative growth rate was worse than originally told, but it looks like we're gradually out of it. And I'm sure if I take a vote here, are we going to be out by Q2? I'm sure some of you will say yes, right? Are we going to be out by Q2? You sure? Are you sure? Q2? Okay, it all depends on one thing, like I tell everybody, it depends on one thing. So long as our friends in the Niger Delta, those are very good friends called militants, don't bomb. If they don't bomb, you don't even need to just go to sleep. I think we'll somehow pull out of recession.
On the financial markets, Mr. Obichukwu noted that there has been a giant shift in the Nigerian banking model to e-business and believed fintech, blockchain, and cryptocurrencies should be given top priority for the next level of financial services.
We also did a bit of review. How are banks actually making money? So we looked at the income distribution of bank revenues. Interest income still dominates. Fee income is also in there in the mix and is actually growing, which is where I'm going to go to next. Now, for a lot of our banks, what we've noticed as well in 2016 is a giant shift towards e-business income. That probably is where the future is for the financial sector, e-business. It's incredible what's happening in there. A total of about, how much? 132 billion was made from e-business alone, revenue. For Nigerian banks, 132 billion, that's 41% increase compared to 2015. So we've looked at 3 areas where we think the financial sector should be tilting towards, at least over the next half a decade. We look at fintech, which is payment channel. That's also where e-business income falls under. We also looked at blockchain technology, which is distribution ledger technology, also called blockchain. And of course, cryptocurrencies. These, we believe, are the growth areas for the financial sector over the next decade. And in the next 5 years, it's going to change the landscape. Take it or leave it. It's either we join them or you'll be left behind.
Mr. Folusho Phillips, Chairman, Nigeria South Africa Chamber of Commerce, and the keynote speaker, Mr. Ugochukwu Obichukwu, CEO Nairametrics, give further perspectives on the economy and also the forex policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Like I always say, the situation we have with the Nigerian economy today is one in which we've got to ask ourselves 3 questions. 1, have we got the right policies in place? 2, are we following on or trying to carry out those policies? And 3, are we giving ourselves enough time for these things to come to life? Because there is a high level of urgency. But for an economy that has had a lot of challenges, which historically have been a long-term thing, we have to ask ourselves: are we giving ourselves enough time for things to roll out and pan out? So there's a certain level of necessary delay, which I foresee. The foreign exchange situation, I'm not satisfied that we've come up with the right policy. People see there's a bit of a relief in terms of the various windows. But the fact that we have so many windows, it's itself a problem. I think we need to take a bold step and decide on floating our currency and managing our expenditure through import duties for things that we don't want to come into the country, rather than banning them totally, or trying to see how our fiscal policies can support where we need to be. But the bottom line is that we need to give ourselves more time. If you look at the new program that the government is putting in place to try and resuscitate the economy, I agree that agriculture has still got to be number 1. I agree that we've got to focus on feeding the nation. I believe that we should also concentrate more on driving an export-driven economy, rather than one in which we're trying to control our expenditure on imports in terms of managing our foreign exchange, that is import substitution. And that export itself can start from agriculture. If you look at the whole agricultural value chain, we really must pursue it to its logical conclusion. To feed 180 million people is big business on its own, and it's enough that can get us going. It's enough that can help us to begin to practice and get in tune with the concept of production, adding value, manufacturing, all around food production.
Like I mentioned, you have to look at what's happening in Niger Delta. That's very pivotal. So long as we have peace in the Niger Delta, you'd expect that, somehow we would, wobble our way out of the recession. Now that the 2017 budget has been passed as well, we expect the stimulus that we'd all been anticipating to come into the economy. It was also instructive that to learn that last year that we did, I think, almost 100% of our capital, budget. So if we could keep pace with that this year, then you could see a huge shift. Nigerians are also very resilient people, so somehow we sort of find our way out of struggles. So people are basically diversifying into new areas of growth. So if you're someone who typically used to import things as a business, right now you're no longer importing, so what you're focused on more now is to look for something that you can do inward. So there's also a lot happening in the agri space. So I think that if things go as planned, we should be out of the recession by the second quarter. And what we should all be looking forward to now is double-digit growth. It's going to be very difficult, but that's actually where we should be. We shouldn't actually be thinking of getting out of a recession. What we should actually be focusing on is, achieving double-digit growth. But mind you, we have less than 14 months towards the election season, so that is also going to be another pivotal, event or thing that could also affect our strive to not just get out of the recession, but remain in the path of growth.
Nigeria's economy, by the first quarter of 2017 GDP growth report, experienced a fifth consecutive contraction by minus 0.52%. Its recovery and pathway to growth will depend on how the policymakers in this administration coordinate the fiscal and monetary policy, as well as the stability in the volatile but sensitive Niger Delta region. For the financial markets, embracing digital technology is crucial, and the regulators must align with this understanding to adopt innovation and opportunities.